Hey there, everybody. We're just getting connected here for our weekly Voice of E-commerce. Really excited to be with you all today on, what are we at here, April 18th. And looks like we made it. Cool. All right. Good deal, everybody. So I just want to give you all a couple minutes to get, have folks roll in and make sure everyone gets situated before we kick off our interview today. And as you can tell, I've got a special guest here, so you're going to learn all about this lovely gentleman that I have with me. And he's actually representing his family in this call. So I'll get to those details in a minute. But so I just want to say in advance, a couple of things, folks, is if you want to receive future notifications or notifications of future broadcasts, just write in "add me" in the comments section below. Write in "add me." Okay, do that. And the other thing is, just this morning, I got word back from one of my staff members how many people are watching these interviews. It's a lot of people. And so by all means, feel free to share these calls that we're doing. They are really valuable from the perspective of you get to hear from members of our e-commerce business school and learn more about us. So by all means, feel free to share. There's a real simple little button there for sharing. And in fact, you could do that right now as interview or invite someone into today's call. So again, this is the Voice of E-commerce coming at you. So I am Ann Sieg, the creator and founder of the e-commerce business school. And the Voice of E-commerce is the broadcasting arm of our school. And so at this time, we are doing these weekly. And we do this to display to the public that we're real people here who have a go-giving community that supports and empowers each other. So we're thrilled to have you here, and we want to help take your business to the next level with this edition of the Voice of E-commerce. So again, greetings, welcome everybody. So whom I have with me today is John Balbach. So greetings to you, John.
Hi, Ann. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy day to be here. And it's saying John and Kathy, but we know that Kathy is tied up in another meeting, and we understand that. It's all related to your business. So what we'd like to do is find out a little bit about you, a little bit about your background and how it was that you came into our community.
Sure, Ann. Well, Kathy and I, we raised 3 children and now enjoying 12 grandchildren. Though I worked 40 years as an accountant for a major corporation, we always had an entrepreneurial spirit. Over the years, Kathy did Avon, operated a telephone answering service, and also house cleaning while working as an admin assistant for a real estate company. We were co-owners of a mom and pop grocery store and managed a small diner for a short period of time. And then, and of course, was involved with network marketing. In 2007, I was packaged out of the corporate world, and that was when I was introduced to you, Ann, through the 7 Lies of Network Marketing. Then in 2015, we purchased the course Shop Your Way to Wealth. The 3 years since has been our entrepreneurial journey for online marketing.
Awesome. Where are you folks located? So people have a little bit of context of location. Where are you located?
We're in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Here at the time of this session, we have our big 5-day event coming up in Bloomington, Minnesota, and one of your family members is attending, that being Kathy, correct?
Yes.
All right, super excited to see her. And I think back to when we first met, it was in Vegas, at Red Rocks, going on a hike.
Yes, before that. I had just had an operation. I couldn't hike, so I walked around the big bus and saw you, Ann.
Yeah, we got a picture together and you with your hat on. Yes. I'll never forget it. Yes, and it was a hot day out there in Vegas, and I think it was in April, actually. That was the event. Okay, so really exciting. I did not know the two of you had actually, you said, owned a business together for a little season there. It was did you say a restaurant?
We co-owned a grocery store.
A grocery store. Okay, so you guys, you have familiarity with the brick and mortar world then, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, something to give it a little bit of contrast to being in e-commerce, which is about retailing products online. So, all right, so you got in through Shop Your Way to Wealth, which for those of you who haven't heard, that's our local retail arbitrage program that we have most folks start on because so easy and predictable, number one. And it's also a great way to learn the fundamentals of e-commerce. So talk us through your journey. We know you're currently a strategic partner with us. So tell us about your evolution, other methods that you've tried, and where you're at now, because you had a grocery store, now you have a different kind of online store. So we want to get to that.
So when I read the material about Shop Your Way to Wealth, that made so much sense to me, because being a former owner of a grocery store, we knew what it was like to have to fill the shelves for the customers to come in. And I really like the concept of just sending material to Amazon, if you will, and they dealt with the customer, and all we had to do was keep the shelves filled, the virtual shelves, and keep things going from there. And that was in 2015.
Okay.
And then, so our focus has been over the last 3 years, knowing that things move on, many things new on the internet, and really to be what is the next level that we want to advance to. We did the book flipping for a time period for that. And then each one of those steps, I learned a little bit more through the course, and also for attending the different workshops that we're going to discuss in a little bit later. My belief is to making this a business, though, taking it to the next level, and that's not how we're currently still working on the building my e-commerce store. And we, as you've mentioned a few times, that partnered up with our son Dave to build an online store that is much different than a brick and mortar store.
Yeah, well, I really want to hear about that, because what you have leveraged through is the knowledge base and experience that your family has in a particular niche. So to make it really clear to people, we have a course called Build My E-commerce Store. And you went deeper into that by getting more high-level help and mentorship, which you're going through. And so how did that journey work relative to you and Kathy? And did you get into a conversation with Dave, say, hey, how did that all evolve to where you're now on a niche called, well, your website is called Fostering Calm. We want everyone to go there, Fostering Calm, CALM. And tell us the journey and how it is that you're now servicing a very particular group of people.
Well, to take a little step back, the beginning part of the course for building your e-commerce store is to work on finding out what your niche you want to get into, and going through a brainstorming process on that. We were at the one live event where we went through that process, and when we came back home, we were meeting with my son, and there was a change of events in his life where things had to change professionally, and he was open to looking for other avenues. So when we had a discussion about developing a niche, I asked him at one point, would you like to be involved with this? Mm-hmm. And I said, to start out with, in all honesty, I can't pay you, but I can give you a title. And so that's our little joke, that he has a title, but it has developed where he is moving forward with the niche that we discovered, which is working with his family of first being foster parents for 3 lovely young children, and then a year later adopting them, and knowing the issues that children like that have in the fostering system, and how their sensory systems are out of whack at many times. And so there's a community out there that is looking for products and whatnot to be moving forward for their own children that have those issues. The interesting part with the whole step, Ann, is that in the community with counselors and like that, this is a new concept. Mm-hmm. But the more we talk to more people, the more they are aware of sensory processing disorders, and how it's if it's not in their direct family, it's in their indirect families.
Right. Yeah. And we work together on that with your funnel. We call it a sales funnel. For those of you who aren't familiar with online terminology, is so they have their own website and they're now developing a whole suite of products that serve children with sensory processing disorders. And I don't know that specialty, but I have definitely noted the rise of autism, which I think is tied in somewhat. I mean, it's kind of a broad category there, but so this is his knowledge base. You own this together as a family because you're the loving, caring grandparents of these 3 children that your son adopted. So there's really not just a thing about, obviously, it's to sell the products. Why don't you share with folks, what's the biggest vision you have for your business as it relates to your grandchildren?
Well, my ultimate goal is that that I shared with Ian at one of our events, is that we have 12 grandchildren. As a grandfather, knowing what's today's day and age, what it costs to put them through college, my goal is to pay for college for each and every one of them. So it's a high goal, it's a lofty goal, but when you make a goal lofty, it becomes achievable.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, one only needs to pull out the calculator and do a little bit of math on 12 grandchildren with college education. So a really big vision relative to what it will do for your family. And then also by default, by serving so many people who are struggling with the same thing as parents with their children with sensory processing disorders, you're able to really expand and reach a lot of people. Why don't you just touch real briefly on some of the products that you have? I'm going to guess this is new to a lot of people. So what do these kind of kids, what are some of the products that can help these kids?
When we start looking in the journey of what's available, there's one of the first things, it's like an old-fashioned little hairbrush, if you will, that with plastic ends to it that is firm but soft. And when you stroke a child's arm with them, it calms them down. Our the boy, the one time sitting at the bus stop waiting for the bus, goes to my son, Dad, I think I need to be calmed down. Can I have the brush? And he would stroke on his arms with the brush. The other thing is that to give them a force of a sense of assurance, is like a compression vest, a very simple vest with Velcro on the side that you can pull them and tighten them around your midsection and whatnot. And there's one product that's fantastic that, if you remember, I brought a sample at the thing and I had to fight with you to get it back. It's called a weighted blanket. And a weighted blanket has the little beads in it, if you will, that has enough pressure on that when the child is like sitting on the couch or on the floor, it gives a little bit of pressure on them that just calms them down. Some other activities that we just, a new product line that we just put in are, it's amazing how children of that, with those issues, love jigsaw puzzles. And so we have a product line of very simple jigsaw puzzles that are meant to calm the children down and have them be focused on doing some things at the same time.
Awesome.
And then another one is it's called a swing. It's a very simple material that hangs up in the doorway of like the living room or so, and then they can hop in there and just rock back and forth.
Oh, awesome. So this, for those of you who don't know of this disorder, and then these products that really have a significant impact on the children, it makes the parents' lives far more manageable, because these kids can kind of get out of control, so to speak, because they have these anxieties from what is developed from the sensory processing disorder. So let's move on. And we are going to post the link to Dave's website too, for everyone who, I'm going to guess there's some of you are watching who are like, I have kids, I know someone like that. So we'll post that link for y'all. Let's talk about, you came in through Shop Your Way to Wealth. I know you've attended a number of events. So if you can just share the value of attending face-to-face workshops and events, converse to, or how is it enhanced separately from, a home study training course, which people have in our back office. But what makes this different to attend an event?
Well, first, when deciding to go into any type of business, you want to make sure you have two ways you can do it. You can learn by trial and error, or you can gain some expertise by different ways going through learning. And the value of coming to the different live events is that you're in there with a community of people who are going through the same situations. And even though I've attended many for over the last 3 years, you have them twice a year, so I think I've attended almost every one of them, is that no matter which one you go to, you always pick up some new pieces of information. And that information can be valuable, something that you weren't aware of, or that you can help you to move to the whatever next step you're looking for. And one piece I love at your summits is actually the final day, Ann, which is called the roundtable event. We have 2 days of packed training with the trainers, but it gives the last day where you sit around tables, you pick your seat, and then the instructors every 15 or 20 minutes move from table to table, so they come to you, and it gives you time to be able to ask questions of what you heard the day or so before, but really wasn't gelling at that point, or you want to get further clarification. And also finding out the others at your particular roundtable are facing the same type of questions, maybe from a little different angle, but it's the same questions.
Yeah.
And one example was that you invited, let's see, I think his name was George from Merchant Words.
George Lawrence.
He's the CEO and founder of Merchant Words, and the little insights that he gave us to how to be looking up for keywords was so valuable. It was just like a side comment for him, but it's something that we didn't really think about before.
Yeah, awesome. And I think we'd have a riot on our hands if we didn't have the roundtable day. It's so, people say that's really the crown jewel of the event, because they've assimilated all this information, but now they want to get the feedback and digest it with an expert to make sure they understood it correctly to then apply. So awesome. Well, we've got some folks who are watching who are new to e-commerce, or maybe they've been in e-commerce and they've been struggling. What kind of advice would you have for folks?
Well, the main thing is that understanding that you have your own business, and every business has its ups and downs. E-commerce is rather new versus brick and mortar. The advantages of that, you have a greater potential for acquiring many more customers and not being tied down to store hours. And for us chasing around with 12 grandchildren, time is very valuable for us. So this makes it a very unique way to be able to have a business of our own, to be able to manage it and take it to the levels that we want it to be at. And for those who are looking to improve their own results, what I mentioned a little bit earlier, but I'll say it again. I believe in life there's two methods of learning. One is trial and error, and the other is learning from others to help reduce your own errors. So that's why I go to these summits, because I pick up a lot of information that I would have to struggle through otherwise on my own.
Yeah, I feel the same. So awesome. Well, thank you so much, John. I do want to mention again to everybody, don't forget to write in "add me" in the comments section below so you can be notified of future broadcasts. And the other thing is, I am going to post your website, fosteringcalm.com, John's family business with he and his lovely wife, Kathy, and their son, Dave, which it is a mirror example of me. My husband and I partnered with our eldest son. So it's kind of cool to see families grow and develop with their e-commerce businesses. And then I'm going to post a link to our event. It is coming up next weekend, so very, very soon here. But we're getting the word out. If it does work for you to join us, we'd love to have you there. So thank you, Dave. Pardon me. John, Dave the son. Anyway, so any last words before we wrap it up here?
Well, I appreciate everything you do, Ann. And the one thing with your community I think is different from many other e-commerce school type of communities is that your coaches and trainers are living through the same experiences that we go. They have their own stores, they have their own Amazon sites and whatever. So when we say that we have an issue, they've already lived through it and they can be very helpful with that. It's worth $1 million to me.
Awesome. I would agree. Alrighty, till then, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next week at the Voice of E-Commerce. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.